Frankie, race 3 on Sunday. You've got a couple of runners. Let's start with All for St Paul's. This guy's in great form, and that was a nice win last time.
Yeah, last time he win the race again. Really happy because for me he already win live race for me. Yeah.
Frankie, I had to look back through his record. He once got to a mark of 42. This horse, I mean, quite extraordinary. He's now rated 97. What a great story he's been.
You know, before the first trial for him, the owners come to see him trial, and I think 800. He trial not really good, and and then come back the owner like this because the horse when he come to Hong Kong only 2 years old, and maybe still young, need more time. So I just give him a race, few more race, and drop down to 42, and then he start getting better. Yeah.
I mean, at the age of 7 now, Frankie, he's arguably as good as ever. This is a career high mark. How confident are you that he can defy that mark now and sort of, maybe go on and win again? His last 2 runs on the surface have been wins.
Yeah, usually he already 7 years old, so I will try to pick better ways for him to see get more prize money, or if he can win again. So that's why I put him in the all-weather trial again.
Talk me through that trial. I mean, he looked to do it under a hold. Nice, comfortable trial.
Yeah. No need to do too much because he's a 7-year-old. Yeah.
Just trying to help him out with a £5 claim as well. Angus Chung stays on.
Yes. The boys ride him really good last time. Yeah. So I put him on again. Yeah.
He's going to be joined by Youthful Deal in the race as well. Obviously, we know he's a very good all-weather horse. He's coming back down the handicap. How much more help from the handicapper does he need? I mean, he's off a mark of 83 now.
Yeah. After the typhoon, make me a bit crazy. The horse and the form has dropped a little bit. So he looked like last time 400. He looks a little bit better. His form. So I can't find any all-weather track race for him. And coming Sunday he have all 160.50. So I put him in already. Yeah.
How big a question mark is that, Frankie? This is his second go at 16.50. Obviously, all of his victories have been over 12. 16.50. What's your take on that?
Not much choice because I already raced him one time 60.50. Not too bad. At that time, it's just a little bit traffic. So if this time he go a little bit smooth, I think it should be close. Yeah.
John, big weekend of racing coming up. We've got the Classic Cup as the feature. You've got a couple of runners in the race, and most notably the winner of the Classic Mile in HELIOS Express. How has he been since that impressive win?
He seems okay. He's done well at home and he looks good. He sort of remains in pretty good condition. His track work's been normal. His trial was normally what he does in a barrier trial. So I think he should go back to the races and run well again.
Talk me through that barrier trial, Johnny. It was a trial which included obviously a number of runners in this race. He looked to do it quite nicely.
Yeah, seems okay. I mean, it was at one section of the trial was a little bit slow for him, and he sort of worked forward before the turn and finished the trial off okay. So I think everything's working. He looks fine.
He's going up in trip, obviously, naturally, through this series. Obviously, they progress up until the 2,000 metres. Any reservation at all with the extra furlong? Are you confident that he'll get that extra bit?
Well, you'd like to see them do it before you'd be confident that he would, but and we find that out at the races, really. So distance doubts can always be a bit tricky, but he seems okay. If he gets a nice run and things happen to suit him in the race, he'll probably run it out.
Having spoke to his jockey Hugh Bowman, of course, who rides again, he says he's just obviously still sort of learning on the job a bit, still maturing. Is that sort of your take on him as well? I mean, we've only had limited exposure to him, just 7 runs here in Hong Kong.
Yeah, he's and he had no racing. He had one race overseas, so he didn't have much experience before he came. But he's we're trying to adapt to a distance and to a tempo is always an issue for the jocks. They have to, manage the horse and govern him through the race. So depends on the circumstances of the day and what sections they run during a race. But so far, some of his races have been a little bit slowly run, and he's come through it okay.
Talking of jockeys, John, the call was made to Ryan Moore a little while ago, obviously for ENSUED. He's going to join Helios Express. He has done a lot in a short space of time, this horse. How impressed have you been with ENSUED so far?
Well, he's been quite unusual the way he come into Hong Kong and won immediately at a distance. That doesn't happen too often. So he's sort of stamped himself as one who's adapted to Hong Kong quickly. He certainly can stay. That doesn't seem to be an issue with him. Just a little bit one-paced is probably the chink in his armour. He doesn't have much acceleration. But with that, as long as he's in a forward position and running freely, that's probably the best we can do.
He's a horse, John, who likes his trips up to Chung Fa. Clearly had a trial there, did win it. He looked good in the trial.
Yeah, he's had 2 trials since he raced at Chung Fa, and both times he looked normal. He seems to be enjoying his work, and he seems to continue to do well.
Is he sort of the horse from your stable that maybe you're considering more for a derby, given your comments that he is probably that bit one pace and he is already a 2,000 metre winner?
Well, no, my early thoughts would have been that he wouldn't have the class for that, but because he runs a distance, he's gone up in rating reasonably slowly because his winning margins have been small. But he's done really well, so I'm certainly happy to have him on board.
Indeed, yeah. Obviously, Ryan and you have some history, obviously, in this race and derbies, etc. You've won this race 4 times, John, so good record in the race. Be nice to win it again.
Yeah, certainly it would. We'd like to win every race, but that's an interesting thing that's happened. But we've got a chance. You never know, we might get another one.
Caris Teetan, we've got some wonderful racing coming up here in Hong Kong this weekend, and outside of the big race, there's a really good-looking sprint. You're going to ride Galaxy Patch. Now, it's an interesting sort of path that Pierre Ong is taking with this horse, because he's given him a big entry, back to 1,000 for the first time. What's your take on that?
Yeah, it's going to be an interesting part with this horse. Of course, Pierre and the owner has discussed they want to try to put him down a straight and see what he does. And yeah, it's gonna be an interesting thing. But he's just full of quality and lots of ability horse. So I think he's gonna run well again.
With that in mind, given that he has got obviously bundles of ability and lots of quality about him, how do you think the 1,000 sort of? How will he find the 1,000 metres? Do you think from his sort of the type of horse that he is?
I think he's going to be outpaced, that's for sure, because over the 1,200 metre he sort of get back a bit and he start travel behind the horses when the pace starting to come back, and I think he's going to be a bit outpaced. It's going to be new for him because they're going to run him off his feet, and it's going to be something new for him. But I think he's going to be hitting the run really strong.
Having spoke to Pierre, I mean, it seemed to be that maybe take the fizz out of him a little bit and just sort of settle him down. Has he sort of been a bit of a buzzy horse, a horse that probably just needs that bit of settling down? Yeah,
that this is what made him stop from going to the Classic Mile and all those races, because he just overdo it in a race, and he still need to learn how to settle down, and we don't think he was ready to go anything over 1,200 metre few months ago. So I'm just hoping that this run will sort of take a little out of him, just settle him down, because of course he goes to the 1,400 next.
How much has he got to do, Karis, to sort of become the more rounded article, do you think? Obviously he's probably still doing it on raw ability alone, but how much further has he got to go, do you think, this horse? I mean, clearly Pierre thinks a lot of him to put him in a Group 1.
Yeah, I think he's shown, and he's giving me a feel that where he's gonna end up. He's done everything right so far. I think last time we just got beaten by a better horse and the way the track was running. But yeah, I think he's gonna improve. I think we'll definitely see the best out of him next season. I think he's gonna learn a lot from this season, but I think we'll see a better horse next season.
Hugh Bowman, big weekend coming up, something you're very used to, I'm sure, to be involved in. Some nice rides. Outside of the the big race, the Classic Cup, you've got Noble Pursuit for Casper Founds. He's a horse that you've had a decent association with. You must be looking forward to getting back on him.
Yeah, I certainly am. It's nice to be back at the races, Nicholas. But look, Noble Pursuit's got a very consistent form line. He's going very well. I think Casper was contemplating a Classic Cup run for him too. He obviously didn't get in the field, so I think there was a couple of options for him, but he's gone this way and pleased to be on board. Drawn ideally in barrier 2, which will, he's not particularly a go-forward horse, but up to this distance from that draw, I think he'll find himself in a favourable position and just get him in that nice rhythm, and I think he'll really enjoy the 2,000 metres.
Without going over old ground, obviously the 2,000 metre start is always an interesting one and a sort of a tactical one here. How important is that draw, obviously, from a rider's perspective?
Well, it certainly helps. I mean, but it's important that I get him out of the barriers. He has been known to be a bit tardy, so we don't want to be jumping on the back foot either. So if we can just get a clean break, he'll find his position wherever that is, and I think the distance is going to really. We're going to have the opportunity to see the best of him over this sort of trip, I think.
I know you didn't ride him last time, you had to sit that one out, but how impressed were you as an onlooker with that turn of foot? I mean, you've experienced it a couple of times already. He's got that really sharp, sort of potent turn of speed, hasn't he, this horse?
Well, he does, but over the shorter trips when I was riding him, although I did win a race on him, he just found it a bit hard to make the ground up. So that's what I mean. Over this distance, he's been looking for it from the day dot, and now he's got the grounding to do it, and he looks as though he's got a bit of class in hand as well, so he looks well placed.
Certainly does. It could be a bit of a test maybe for a longer range aim at a derby perhaps. I mean, like you say, Casper wanted him, try and get him in the Classic Cup, but that didn't quite materialise.
Yeah, well, there's no doubt the derby's on the cards, so that's why he's going this path, so he's still got to put his hand up and do it, but the writing's on the wall, and I'd be very surprised if he doesn't run really, really well.